What's going on, guys? Capine here and welcome back. And in this video, I'll be featuring a triple water team that, believe it or not, has actually been pretty solid for me in the open Great League. Gastrodon Lead for Alligator Safe Swap and Shadow Walrein Closer. Yes, that's right, the Walrus is back. With how prevalent Curdilly, Mudslappers, and the Dark Flyers are, guess what? It's Walrein's time to shine, baby, and it did just that. Now, despite this team being triple water, they each have their own unique coverage and role. Plus, it helps that true grass types are basically non-existent right now. So in this video, I'll be featuring some solid sets and battles that I had with the team. And with that, let's get right to the battles. Alright, getting to the first battle, we lead Gastrodon into Wigglytuff. Barely a neutral lead here, and Wigglytuff does win CMP over Gastro, so if I was playing this out correctly, I would go for that Water Pulse as soon as I get it, not over farming like I did here, because if I let them build up to the Icy Wind, like I said, I will lose CMP tie, and they will be able to get that off first. It's just a Swift though, and either way I can let the move go. They pivot into Gastrodon. We land a Water Pulse, we can tank their Body Slam no problem, and now I can come in for Alligator. With the shift to Water Pulse on Gastrodon, I don't have to worry about a potential Earth Power anymore for either Walrein or my own Gator. It's just the Body Slams that I will be taking. So here, fire off a Hydro Cannon before their next Body Slam. They come back in Wiggly. Made sure to overfarm as much as possible against the Gastro, with a possibility I will reach another Hydro in the end game. It's a Shadow Kanto Marowak in the back, and the Walrus is about to close this out. They do not reach a Rock Slide. Icicle Spear, massive damage. In comes the Wigglytuff, and just too little too late, it cannot charm us down in time. We reach one Icicle Spear. Opponent lets it go because if they show to that, there was a second one right behind it, and we are able to take that. GG's. Next battle, Gastro into Shadow Alolan Ninetales. Pretty good lead for us here, since we can tank any one move that they throw, and well, they cannot tank a Water Pulse from us. So we do go for the Water Pulse. They end up catching it on the Furret, and that is fine because my team is a little bit soft to Furret, which Furret gets a good energy lead or aligned right can be a little bit problematic, but here tanking a Water Pulse, getting some good damage off of it, it is no problem for the Gator because we're already at the back-to-back Hydros. Play to the CMP tie of the Swift, hoping it would be enough to KO, but it's just not. Hangs on with like 1-2 HP, gets off the Swift. Therefore, I'm forced to shield because I want to save all this energy that I have on the Gator. Get off a Hydro against the A9, pull a shield. They take us out with a Weather Ball. I can come back in Gator because I know they will not be able to farm me down without wasting more energy. And from here, I think the Walrus has a chance to close out. I can just one shield Powder Snow this all the way down. I end up letting this go because I completely forgot about the Dazzling Gleam counts. I thought it was like still more expensive than it was, but the other season when the price got brought down, I mean, it's a Eufisk in the back, so even if I did shield that, it would have been close, but letting through that Dazzling Gleam was definitely the nail in the coffin. So we did end up losing that one. GG's to my opponent. Next battle, Galarian Corsola Lead. Corsola does win the zeros here because you have to land 2 Water Pulses to KO, and they outpace to 2 Nightshades before you reach 2 Water Pulses. So their first Water Pulse lands, does some pretty decent damage, but I cannot go for the Body Slam to KO. I have to go for the Water Pulse, of which your opponent's always gonna go, throw their second Nightshade right away. In which case, that's perfectly fine because you can come in your Gator and you just get a fantastic Shadow Claw down there. And if your opponent doesn't have something to soak that Gator energy on, you're golden. And if they do, like this Dugong here, well, the Dugong normally can't really hit. The Dugong or the other Pokemon normally can't really hit back too hard against your Gator. And if your opponent overfarms in that Gastrodon matchup to allow you to reach that second Water Pulse, it's because they're most likely going to play for a catch on something. So just be wary of that right there. Here we do reach Yet another Hydro. My opponent wants to keep their Dugong around, so they swap into Torterra, end up giving up a shield, and oh, do I have an answer for this Torterra. Look at that. The Powder Snows just absolutely ran through the Torterra. We reach an Icicle Spear. We have the back-to-backs, so my opponent doesn't bother using that last shield, and they do concede. GG's. Gastrodon into Shadow Scizor. Good lead for us, shields up. Bad lead for us, shields down. And if you're facing a Shadow Scizors love to use their shields, so it's a pretty good matchup for you. And also, Shadow Scizor love to bait. If you have the guts to call that bait, I say do it. But there, I did not have the guts to call that bait. Get one shot by the Trailblaze, then that's just pretty much game over. But if your opponent stays in, whether they bait or not, you'll just throw one and then the body slam, because the body slam will do enough damage after those mud slaps to take care of the Shadow Scizor. Here they have an Annihilate in the back. I do end up getting their final shield with the Hydro, and I decide to let my that move go, knowing that my Gastrodon is healthy enough to reach a lasting move. I end up going for the body slam here, hoping it would be enough to KO, even though I had the water pulse, but it doesn't quite matter, as come in, get energy advantage on the Walrein, and my opponent does concede. GG's. Next battle, Diggersby Lead. Pretty good lead here because my entire team is solid into this. They will be able to fire off a Scorching Sands first, and as long as they don't get a debuff, then this water pulse will do decent damage. My opponent goes for a swap, tries to make a catch. I don't know if they're trying to catch a body slam or something, because I'm always going to be going water pulse in the Diggersby, and with the Corviknight, I was wanting to throw a water pulse into it anyways, so this works out fine. I end up over farming here because a Hydro Cannon would not be enough to KO yet, so I wanted to maximize my energy gain before I through that and would get less Shadow Claw's worth of energy on my Gator. Back in comes the Diggersby. I'm gonna fire off Hydro Cannon number 1 and then Hydro Cannon number 2 on the CMP tie. This loads of energy that I got while over farming against the Corviknight coming in handy here. They do land the Scorching Sands, and now I'm going to pivot out. I do not want them to get energy lead. It's a Florges, and I know recently a lot of Florges have started to shift to Chilling Water and Trailblaze, but there is some that are on Chilling Water and Boomblast, so I'm hoping that's what this one is on. So either way, they're baiting, hoping to get a shield, but because of that, it's most likely they're on Moonblast, which is fantastic for me, because at this point, getting that Icicle Spear off, calling that bait, I can just let this move go, where if they do full send the Moonblast, I am just in a winning position, since I'll be able to mud slap down with Gastrodon. My opponent realizes that and they concede. GG's. Next battle, Empoleon Lead. Fantastic lead for us. You see what my opponent does. They're staying in, and are they core broken to the Gastrodon? That could be very, very interesting, especially if you're running an Empoleon Lead. So here I'm going for the body slam. I'm hoping that the body slam damage plus an extra mud slap will be enough to take it out, which it is. So that is very nice for us. They come in to a Togekiss, so I'm gonna fire off the body slam and then pivot Gator. I don't want them to get up too much energy against my Gastrodon. Plus, my Gator can take this energy no problem, and if they pivot out here, which they do, I'll get the Walrein super effective Powder Snows on Togekiss with the flying type later. In addition, I bait out a Dedenne, so pivoting to Gator ended up being the perfect move, because I do end up getting both shields from the Dedenne, and now I will be able to just double shield myself and slap down this Dedenne. Parabolic Charge 1 gets a shield, Parabolic Charge 2 gets a shield. We fire off a body slam, hoping that this plus the mud slaps will be enough before they reach another Parabolic, but it is not, and that is okay. Because check this out, even though I may not be able to get a Powder Snow down, Walrein can tank 5 Thunder Shocks and a Parabolic Charge on very low HP. Bang, hangs on, takes out the Dedenne, leaves with an Icicle Spear to take out that Togekiss, and Walrein clutching up. I absolutely love it. GG's there. Next battle, Gastrodon into Galarian Moltres. Terrible lead. We're going to pivot into that Gator. And against the Galarian Moltres lead, you're going to want to throw a Hydro after 6 Shadow Claws. The reason why I say 6 is in case your opponent tries to swap after 5 to catch the Hydro on something, and you can't build up to the Ice Beam at 7 because your opponent will outpace to a Fly at 7 before you do. Therefore, they will take advantage of that 1 turn it takes to swap. So by throwing at 6, you watch for that catch, as well as negating that 1 turn it takes to swap. Here, I end up getting a shield from my opponent, and I realized that I can just Powder Snow down at that point. So that's why I let the Gator go, come in Walrein. They come in Florges, and we land that Icicle Spear, and same thing that we saw with the Florges either. I'm going to call the bait. This one's still on Moonblast, but Walrein hangs on. Lands the Icicle Spear, takes out the Florges. They have a Clodsire and back, and this game is all over. I do let this first move go. This is the hardest hitting move left in the Earthquake, but it doesn't matter because I would be showing up Earthquake later. They come in G-Trace hoping to survive to reach a move. They do not, so they end up conceding. GG's. Next battle, another Shadow Scizor lead. Like I said, down shield's terrible for the Gastro, up shield's pretty good one for it. Again, 7 bullet punches. Do not have the guts to call the bait there. They bait again. They come in Azu, so I'm going to bank all that energy so I can threaten the Scizor later and come in Gator, because I know that Gator can take a move and then fire off a bunch of moves in return. But also, I know that if I'm able to preserve health on this Gator, then I'll be able to get those shields back from the Scizor. So that's why I shield the first one, and then I will be able to tank that second move like I mentioned later. But they end up pivoting out, and that's okay because one, we get this shield back. Now I can pivot to Gastro, fire off the Body Slam. My opponent, nice read by them that I'm going to combo play. They land, but it's only a Night Slash, so we're not threatened to get knocked out there. Land the Body Slam, does not KO. We get one more Mud Slap, and they come in with a Giratina, a purified Giratina, may I add. And well, it's going to be very interesting because if they're on the Dragon Claw Ancient Power set, we may have a chance because hoping Gator would be able to survive a Dragon Claw and make a Hydro to force the last shield. But they're on return, and yeah, me not reaching that Hydro anymore, that's going to spell game over. So as you'll see here, the Giratina is on Ancient Power. That will do some really nice damage to us. Back in comes the Azu, and well, the Azu with that shield is just a little too healthy. I swap right away to try and make a catch, since at that point my only win con was to make a catch. I get the prediction wrong, and since I get the prediction wrong, that game is now officially over. GG's to my opponent there. Next battle, Gastro into Galarian Corsola. Again, we saw this lead earlier. Fairly neutral, but we do end up losing it, and that is okay if we lose it because we get a ton of energy on our Gator. We're going for the Water Pulse. It does land, and now my opponent will be firing off the Nightshades. First one, we let go. Second one, they do pause and wait to make sure we don't catch. We end up getting an extra Mud Slaps worth of the damage, which in this case, it's fine because they end up swapping out. If they stayed in, it wouldn't be great because we get less farm, but they swapped out. So in the end game, having a lower health Galarian Corsola to deal with is very nice. They come in Blastoise, and being able to get off 2 Hydros before the Skull Bash is fantastic too. And since I have all these shields, I'm just going to call the bait and let Walrein close out, hoping that Blastoise is their only true answer to it from here. They end up shielding that, which is very interesting. I'm like, okay, so if they're really weak to Gator, hopefully they're really weak to the Walrein, but no, it's a Tinkaton. And this, they end up going straight for a Bulldoze. That's fine. I can no shield that, no problem, save my shields. And now this, I end up full sending. I'm thinking, hey, they're down a shield. They might try and call a bait to win, but they end up shielding it. And while unfortunate right there, we're still in a decent spot because all we need to do is just watch for a catch. And they end up going for a catch one too early. So fortunately for us, We didn't really need to watch for that catch. They come in Tinkaton. I was looking to throw the Earthquake right away. Apparently I was a little too slow, but no problem. We just shield, load up to 100 energy because we can land this Earthquake on the Tink and then reach the Icicle Spear against the Blastoise without the rollout KOing us. So Icicle Spear goes through and it down goes the Blastoise. GG's. Next battle, Gastrodon into Shadow Kanto Marowak. Pretty good lead for Gastro and a fantastic lead for this entire team since it really has nowhere to go. We overfarm because my opponent is looking for the catch. They come in with Dugong, so I'm going to get a little bit of a body slam's worth of chip and then come in Gator. Because they're forced to go for the drill runs here, they want to do any meaningful damage instead of the Icy Winds. For Walrein, they would have to do the same, go for the drill runs instead of the Icy Winds to do any reasonable damage, but Gator has access to the neutral Shadow Claws, while Walrein is the double resisted Powder Snows. So it's just a lot better matchup for the Gator there. Dugong hangs on with little HP, but so does Gator, and that allows me to save Gator for potential catch later on in the end game, which would be very nice. They come in with a Galarian Moltres, take us out with a Fly since they didn't want me to land a Water Pulse or get the final shield, and that's perfect because Walrein will be able to close this one out very, very well. We do end up getting one turn bring in there, which that is unfortunate because, you know, it denies us the Powder Snow, especially for something that could be very impactful here, but we shall see. Opponent waits, makes the catch onto their Shadow Kanto Marowak, but it just one-shots it. Goodbye. And then we can just farm down the G-Trace. So fortunately, that one turn did not matter as Walrein doing what it does best, being able to close out those end games. GG's. Shadow Walrein, the king is back. It's a beautiful thing. As for the team, I had some pretty nice results with it like this, but I also tried another iteration of it with a Shadow Walrein lead and Gastrodon closer, so just the lead and back Pokemon switched, and I had some very nice results with that too. So I guess realistically, it's up to you what order you want to play and which one you feel more comfortable with. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Love to hear what you have to say. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.